boy, does a lot happen in Genesis chapter 41. It's called Pharaoh's Dreams, and Joseph is tasked with the responsibility of interpreting Pharaoh's dreams. He spends 2 years in prison, but apparently it's not that bad because he has all the comforts afforded by God. They don't give a lot of details, but he's down there for a while. It's like a dungeon. So he's in a dungeon. He's all hairy when they bring him out. There's like the cupbearer from the previous chapter. Joseph interprets a dream for the cupbearer, says, hey, you're going to get your job back. He gets thrown in jail because he makes someone mad. And then Joseph goes, you're going to get your job back. And then the cupbearer forgets about him completely. And then after 2 years, the Pharaoh has these weird dreams where cows come out of a river. They're river cows, maybe like water buffalo. It doesn't say they're buffalo. It says cows come out of a river and they're fat. It says they're fat and sleek. And when they come out, it says gaunt, skinny, gaunt cows come out. Gaunt, like that thing that influencers and models do where they suck their cheeks in. And the skinny cows eat all the fat cows. And it's apparently like an analogy for an oncoming famine. And it's not his only dream. The Pharaoh has a dream about like stalks of grain. There's like big stalks that come out and they're very healthy. And then withered stalks come out and like a wind blows in and kills them. And it basically just means that for each one of there's 7 cows. There's 7 cows and 7 stalks of grain. Each one of them represents a year. And it calls Joseph up, and he's withered like one of the cows, and he's got big hair, dirty clothes, and they whip it. It's like in GTA 5, they like give him like the haircut in seconds, and suddenly he's like all clean, and they change all of his clothes. And he goes, hey, the cupbearer is like, oh yeah. It said in the previous chapter that he forgot about Joseph. Joseph gets him out of jail, and then he forgets about him. And he goes, yeah, there was a guy who interpreted a dream. Get him up here. Get him a fresh haircut. Have him interpret your dream. I'd be pissed if I was Joseph. And he goes, hey, Pharaoh, here's how it's going to work. 7 years of plentiful food, 7 years of famine. And the Pharaoh's like, wow, I should really, he does like a Nick Cage, wow. No, not Nick Cage. Who's the guy who goes, wow? Owen Wilson. It is an Owen Wilson, wow. I should really put someone in charge. He literally goes like, I should put someone at the head of the state who can manage all this food. Does anyone know a godly man around here? He literally, just so you know, I'm not exaggerating. This is what it says. Can we find anyone like this man? One in whom is the Spirit of God. And Joseph's like leaning on a wall like, The Pharaoh's like, hey, God talks to you, doesn't he? And Joseph's like, well, I don't know. I just interpret dreams. He goes, yeah, you should be the head of the state. You should be the leader of agriculture. And Joseph's like, well, okay, if you really want me to, I'll do it. I mean, I don't have to be in jail anymore if you don't want me to be. I'll just go around collecting food and storing it in warehouses. And he does. He spends 7 years collecting. It says there's so much. What does it compare it to? Joseph stored up huge quantities of grain like the sand of the sea. That's how much there is. And it says he stops keeping records of the amount of food they have bringing in because there's too much. He just puts it in storehouses everywhere and he goes, put it on the pile. It doesn't matter. It's like Walter White and his piles of cash. And then when the famine hits, the entire country, like not just Egypt, but like the surrounding area, surrounding countries, they all go to Egypt because Joseph's been blessed by God and buy everything from him. Don't tell me God isn't biased. He gives Joseph the future, and by way of Joseph, Egypt is like an economic powerhouse as a result. They're the only country with food, and it says surrounding countries. And all the world came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph. That's the last sentence in chapter 41 of Genesis. Because the famine was severe everywhere, Egypt benefits enormously economically because God is behind Joseph. If that is not unfair bias, I don't know what is. Let me be explicit. That's bad decision-making by God, like morally, ethically. The fact that he's elevating one instead of taking care of everybody. People get distracted because it's like, well, they all have food. And it's like, yes, but the sole supplier of food is Egypt. They have a massive advantage in this situation and are making tons of money while no one else is. That's messed up. And you could try and convince me otherwise in the comments if you want. I'll read them. I'll read the comments. But they need to be reasonable arguments. You can't just be mad because you like God or you like the Bible. You got to convince me ethically or morally why that's okay. Because it doesn't seem to be. Wah, wah. But next chapter is 42. We'll be there soon. Tune in if you want to find out what happens.